Thank you for joining me again. Tonight's message I've entitled Leading Through Adversity. One thing after another, difficulty after difficulty. A series of challenges have beset the Israelites. It seems that they leave one challenge just to enter the next. Have you ever been there? Think about the leaders who must lead through adversity. Maybe it's a coach who is hired on, whose responsibility it is to take a losing team and turn it around to begin winning games. Or maybe it's a principal who accepts the position at a school that is known for bad behavior or poor academics, whose duty it is to turn the school into a place suitable for learning. Maybe it's a town planner that sees a town devoid of businesses and economic growth, whose challenge it is to create jobs and bring in businesses. Or a president that enters office after an economic recession or comes into office inheriting a multitude of crises. How does one lead through adversity? How do you overcome sets of challenges? For obstacles and challenges and great difficulties will come. Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble. The word that is translated trouble or tribulation is from the Greek word thlipsis. It describes pressure, that which constricts or rubs together. It's used of a narrow place that hems someone in. It can refer to internal pressure that causes someone to feel confined and restricted without options. We are literally in a world of trouble. Troubles abound. And the Israelites were not immune from it, nor prevented from experiencing trouble and adversity on their travels from Egypt. They seemed to experience one trouble after the next. And Moses was the leader to lead them through adversity. No easy challenge. When leading through adversity, one must buy into and internalize the mission. What is the goal? What is the purpose? What is the driving factor, the vision that needs to come about? For the coach, it would be a winning team. For the principal at the school, it was a learning environment. For the town planner, economic growth and development. For the president, a prosperous nation. When leading through adversity, one must have an aim. Moses may have had the word of God replaying in his mind as he led the Israelites out of Egypt and into the desert. The mission statement that said, when you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. The mountain was the aim. Just a little further. Each day, with each step, Moses would lead the people and get a little bit closer to the destination. But a series of challenges they would have to meet along the way. The challenges of thirst and hunger would be an ever-present reality on their journey. It was and still is a constant. To remain alive, we must be hydrated and we must keep fed. The bodies of this world have physical needs. If those needs are not met, we perish. The Israelites' physical needs were challenged. They needed their needs met, and they grumbled prior to having those needs met. The experience of being without is not pleasant. Thirsting is not an experience to prolong, but suffering to be avoided. The Israelites did not wish to suffer. They did not want to experience thirst or go through hunger. But these things had a teaching element to them. It was to humble and test them in order to know what was in their heart, whether or not they would keep the Lord's commands. Our adversities, our challenges, our difficulties, are they the refining fire, the scale which measures the heart? We are told that it is the Lord who causes the humbling, that which is for our good. And the process by which that happens is led by adversity. We are brought low and then lifted up. We experience the emptiness of hunger and then the feeling of being fed. Deuteronomy 8 verse 3, we read, He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Have you experienced some challenge or adversity and thought to yourself, okay, what should I be learning through this? What valuable lesson is this that is teaching me to change and refine my way of thinking and behavior? What is this experience teaching me? The lesson for the Israelites was for them to learn that life is more than just physical. Life is more than physical. Physical bread, as important as that is, life also has a vital spiritual component. Man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. For living, both the physical needs and spiritual needs must be recognized and properly satisfied. Jesus said, Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? If you are looking at just your physical needs and ignoring your spiritual, you will be out of balance. If you are feeding just the physical but not the spiritual, you will be malnourished. If you exercise and discipline the physical body but do nothing for the spiritual, if you do not exercise the spiritual, then while the physical gets stronger, the spiritual suffers and grows weak. The Bible exhorts us believers to be trained in godliness. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. Does that mean that we should wish for trials to come our way? Does that mean that we should wish for tribulation and trials because of the teaching aspect? Not necessarily. But perhaps we can change the way in which we view them. The book of James speaks of this, a change in perspective. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. We see here that there is a reason for the testing. James finds joy in the results of the trials, not in the trials themselves. even difficult times can produce good qualities, such as perseverance. For the Israelites, thirst and hunger were real moments of concern. Thirst and hunger were real points of agony. They were a real part of the journey. They were to learn humility through the hunger. And so too with us, we must be emptied so that we can be filled. As Jesus tells us to be in the Beatitudes, blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. You know, Moses would hear the Israelites' grumblings. The Lord heard the Israelites' grumblings. You know, I can grumble about exercising, but I know to get results, I must go through the process. Oh, friends, the journey is a process. The traveling has an aim, but the journey and the traveling won't be void of difficulties, challenges, and obstacles. How we view such trials, what outlook, perspective, and attitude we hold, can be a crucial component to our development. Let's read as we close tonight's message. Let's read in the book of Exodus, picking back up. We've been going through the book of Exodus. Let's read here in Exodus chapter 17 tonight together. Exodus chapter 17, beginning with verse 1. The whole Israelite community set out from the desert of Sin, traveling from place to place as the Lord commanded. Here we see the journey and the traveling from place to place as the Lord commanded. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. Here we see another challenge. So they quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." Moses replied, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you put the Lord to the test?" Verse 3, but the people were thirsty for water there, and they grumbled against Moses. They said, "Why did you bring us up out of Egypt to make us and our children and livestock die of thirst?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What am I to do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord answered Moses, "Go out in front of the people. Take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go." Well, there's a question for us here as we pause here at verse number 5. Why do you think God told Moses to take some of the elders with him? You know, leaders can lead through adversity by developing other leaders. Allow others to watch you as you navigate and operate through challenges. The elders here would watch as Moses, with staff in hand, trusted in God for a solution. Let's pick back up in verse number 6. Exodus chapter 17, verse number 6. I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it for the people to drink. So Moses did this in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the place Massah and Meribah, because the Israelites quarreled, and because they tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Later the Israelites are told, "Do not put the Lord your God to the test as you did at Massah." And one can question, was the Israelites' thirst real as they camped at Rephidim, or was it their faith that was weak? Was their thirst truly for water, or was it to see another miracle performed? Some threatened Moses, and Moses believed their threats. Who puts the Lord to the test? Quarreling and making threats are the opposite of a quiet trust and resolve in the Lord for solution and provision. Oh, how's your spiritual condition look like tonight, friend? Are you trusting in the Lord for a solution? Or are you complaining and quarreling and having trouble moving through these difficulties? Lean and rely on the Lord. Look to Him for guidance, for strength, and for wisdom. Stay close to the Lord and watch as a solution comes about. I hope that this message was a blessing to you, friend, and I hope that you have a good and blessed rest of your week. And until next time, bye-bye.